Hello and welcome to the Journeyhorizon YouTube channel, the place where we share valuable insights on building and growing successful marketplaces. In today's episode, we dive into an interesting topic, marketplace liquidity. What is it and how to improve?
Have you ever wondered why some online marketplaces just take off while others feel like digital ghost towns? Well, it's usually not about having the slickest design or the fanciest tech. It's about this powerful, kind of invisible force called liquidity. So let's get into it and really unpack the one thing that can make or break any marketplace out there. And this quote right here, it just cuts straight to the heart of the matter. If you don't get liquidity right, your platform is basically just a beautiful store with no customers and no products on the shelves. It's an empty shell, and honestly, nothing else really matters at that point.
And that's why we call it the #1 marketplace killer. It's not some bug in the code or a tiny flaw in the business model. No, it's this fundamental failure to create real, predictable connections between the people who want to buy and the people who want to sell.
Okay, so what is this all-important thing anyway? We've seen the damage a lack of it can do. Now let's get a really clear definition of what we're actually talking about.
In the simplest terms, it's just the probability that a buyer and seller actually connect, and that they connect pretty quickly. You can think of it like your marketplace's pulse. Is it strong and steady, or is it weak and erratic? A weak pulse means your users are just struggling to find each other. But a strong one, that means your marketplace is healthy, it's alive, and it's thriving.
And you have to remember, liquidity is a two-way street. For buyers, it means they can find what they're looking for and actually buy it. Simple enough. For sellers, it's all about getting real engagement, inquiries, offers, and ultimately sales. You absolutely need both sides of this equation to be super strong if you're going to succeed.
But here's the super critical distinction, and this trips a lot of people up. It is not just about volume. A marketplace with, say, 100 listings that gets 80 sales is way more liquid and way more valuable than one with 1,000 listings and 0 sales. The whole game is won on quality matches, not just having a gigantic inventory.
So, why does this all matter so much? Because liquidity is the absolute foundation of a successful marketplace. Without it, you really just have a directory, a list of stuff. With it, you have a living, breathing economy.
And when you achieve high liquidity, this amazing virtuous cycle kicks in. Buyers can reliably find what they need, so they start to trust the platform. That trust brings in more buyers, which of course attracts more sellers. And that's the network effect. That's the engine of your growth. It directly fuels your revenue, and in a lot of cases, it even reduces waste by making sure goods and services find a home.
Okay, so that virtuous cycle is the goal, right? But how do you know if you're actually getting there? How can you tell if your marketplace is healthy? Well, you have to measure its pulse. You have to measure its liquidity.
So on the buyer's side, you're going to want to track things like the search to action rate. What percentage of searches actually lead to someone sending a message or making a purchase? And for sellers, you're looking at the listing to engagement rate. Basically, what percentage of your new listings are just hearing crickets versus getting a real inquiry? These numbers give you a clear, honest picture of how you're doing.
But you've got to remember, context is king here. What counts as a reasonable time for a transaction completely depends on your industry. I mean, for a food delivery app, you're talking minutes. For a platform to sell a house, it could be months. You have to define that critical time window for your specific market.
So, we know why it matters, and we know how to measure it. Now for the really good part. How do you actually improve it? Well, here is a powerful 4-step playbook you can use.
First up, narrow your focus way down to create density. Second, you gotta pre-seed the platform so it never feels empty when new users arrive. Third, you constantly have to improve your search and matching tools to make those connections seamless. And fourth, you have to be ruthless about removing stale listings to keep everything fresh and trustworthy.
Let's dig into that first step for a second. The goal here is to be a big fish in a small pond. It is so much easier to totally dominate a super specific niche, like used office furniture in Melbourne, than it is to tackle a massive, broad market like business goods nationwide. Win that first niche, build up real liquidity there, and then you can start to expand. And to improve that matching, you have to give your users the right tools for the job. We're talking about things like really clear filters and tags, precise location settings so people can see what's actually nearby, and maybe even some smart algorithmic recommendations that anticipate what a user needs. The easier you make it for buyers and sellers to connect, the more liquid your platform is going to be. So, let's bring this all together. At the end of the day, liquidity isn't just another metric you track on a dashboard. It is the very engine of your marketplace. It's the force that drives every transaction, every interaction, and every single dollar of revenue.
If you found this helpful, make sure to follow Journeyhorizon for more insights, strategies, and real lessons on building and scaling successful marketplaces.